Good afternoon. There are new developments with a number of arrests as police try to tackle violence in the towing industry.
Peel police have announced charges related to extortion and other violent crimes. They have announced 18 arrests in what they call a violent criminal organization. Police say they've been charged in connection with extortion and other violent crimes. This is specific to the tow truck industry. And it all began with Peel businesses being threatened, and the investigation grew from there. CTV's John Musselman is covering a news conference, and he will join us with all the specifics this hour. But first, there's been a tragedy on a job site in the West End.
A worker has been crushed by a concrete slab. CTV's Janice Golding joins us now live with all the details on this. Janice.
Hi, Nathan. Police and the Ministry of Labour are here on the scene of a fatal industrial accident in North York that happened just a few hours ago. Now, police say they got the call that a person was trapped just before 8:30 a.m. Investigators say early reports indicate a concrete slab fell on a worker at the site. The location, Tor York near Weston, home of TKL Group. The company's website says TKL has been designing, manufacturing, and installing precast concrete for projects in North America since 1977. Owners and staff declined to comment on this morning, saying they were going to await the results of the investigation, although they appeared quite shaken, telling CTV News that the person who died was beloved and had worked here for around 30 years. Now, forensic investigators in the Ministry of Labour continue their investigation. Reporting live from Janice Golding, now back to Michelle and Nathan.
Thank you, Janice. We'll get to more news in a moment, but first we take a live look at this city this noon hour. The sunshine carrying through from the weekend, a bit of cloud in the mix, but certainly of note as we embark on a new week. The temperature is going to heat up. Lindsay Morrison is here with a look at the current conditions. Tell us more, Lindsay.
Yeah, and it's not just the temperature, Michelle, it's the humidex factor. We'll be talking about that a lot this week. In fact, it already feels into the upper 20s this hour in Niagara Falls as well as Peterborough. Downtown Toronto, the temperature is around 20 degrees, 23 at Pearson Airport. But as you can see, it does feel warmer than that. And it's going to feel well into the 30s at times this week. There's our satellite and radar. We mentioned a little bit of cloud that's drifting across the region. It's mixed with sun. We're not looking at a cloudy day per se. In fact, we will have lots of periods of sun over the next day or so here. There's our current winds. They're calm, but they are coming from a bit of an east direction. Today at a glance, forecast daytime high 25, feeling closer to 30. As soon as tomorrow, it is going to feel like the mid-30s. But we've got some active weather to talk about, too. We'll show you what days this week you will need the umbrella coming up. But for now, Michelle, over to you.
Thank you, Lindsay. Students walked out at a high school in Toronto for girls with special needs.
The students are concerned about the future of the school after word the TDSB is not taking enrollment for grade 9 in the fall. CTV's Rahim Ladhani joins us live from Heydon Park Secondary School with more on this. Rahim.
Nathan and Michelle, good afternoon. The walkout happened at 10:30 this morning with students walking through the doors behind me. Park. Now, this school is not slated to be shut down. However, students and parents fear that is on the horizon after the Toronto District School Board canceled enrollment for grade 9 students in the upcoming fall school year. What makes Heydon Park such a unique school is that it started out as a vocational school in 1923 and then evolved into a secondary school and a safe haven for female, transgender, non-binary students with special education needs. According to the TDSB, enrollment at the school has been declining over the years. 9 students applied to be part of the upcoming grade 9 class. But parents told me today that's only because the open house was canceled. Those students will now be sent to alternative sites. The board says neighborhood schools are getting better at supporting a wide range of student needs. I want you to hear from the students and parents about how the Heydon experience has enriched their lives.
At the age of 3, I was diagnosed with ASD, autism spectrum disorder, right? And a lot of the times I would get almost made fun of just because I was different. And then, but as soon as I came to this school growing up, you know, it just meant a lot to me.
It catered a lot to us because we have a disability and we need representation in the world.
There's not another school in the city that offers the full experience, which is a full class experience. Gym, art room, cooking classes, cosmetology.
Now, I spoke with the area school board trustee, who was also here in attendance. She told me that a meeting has been scheduled for next week with central staff and the planning committee to discuss the long-term viability of this school. Reporting live, I'm Rahim Ladhani. I'll send it back to you both in studio.
All right, thank you, Rahim. The City of Toronto has announced more supports for the arts community.
It's part of a campaign aimed at creating stronger social connections through the arts. Our Mike Walker is at City Hall today and joins us live now with more. Mike.
Well, Michelle, Nathan, the city and dozens of arts organizations have partnered together for a new campaign to help support local artists and showcase different cultural events and exhibits. The campaign, dubbed Together Through Art, will include a new online registry where artists and organizations can submit events they hope to showcase. Currently, 40 art organizations in the city are participating in the campaign, and most of the exhibits that will be promoted will be free or available at a low cost. Now, today, the mayor didn't announce any new funding for the arts, but did talk about how the aim of this campaign is to draw attention to how the arts can bring people across the city together, especially during difficult times. Here's more.
We have come together to launch Together Through Art, a new campaign to build bridges and create stronger social connections through the many arts and cultural activities.
I mean, we just want Torontonians across the city and visitors coming in from outside as well to know that there are so many artists and organizations working in the city to make things happen that they can be part of.
And for us, it is raising visibility. Visibility is always a good thing. And that means more donors, more support, more funders, because ultimately that's what arts needs.
Now, the Toronto Arts Council anticipates over the next few days that events will start to be promoted, and it will also be conducting a survey throughout the summer to measure the success of this campaign. Reporting live at City Hall, I'm Mike Walker. Nathan and Michelle, back to you.
Thank you, Mike. And we have more now on our top story, major investigation into violence in the towing industry. Our John Musselman has just stepped out of a news conference. John, a lot of concern about what's happening in the towing industry. Tell us more about these arrests.
Well, we can tell you that 18 people have been charged in connection with this case, Michelle. It was a large news conference. We had representatives from the municipality, the province, and the federal government. Police were able to recover more than $4 million in cash, 18 tow trucks, weapons.
Yeah.
Now, what we also heard at this news conference is that this group, led by 2 alleged ringleaders, were also involved in extorting businesses in the Brampton area and also staging accidents. We've covered stories like this in the past, that fake accidents that police allege that they staged for insurance fraud purposes. We had a chance to speak to Chief Nishan Dariapi, who was here at the news conference. Here's what he had to say.
Let me take you back to the beginning of 2023, where here in the region of Peel and other large urban centers nationally and internationally saw a sharp trend in violent extortion attempts, particularly targeting the South Asian business community and owners of various businesses. These threats escalated into a variety of different offenses, including drive-by shootings, arsons, a variety of acts of violence that spread fear and insecurity, not just into our local community, but it gripped international news. Our response here at Peel was swift, and that was the establishment of an extortion investigative task force, which at times exceeded 40 officers.
Now, the other issue that became front and center here, Michelle and Nathan, was bail reform. Both the provincial and federal politicians who are here today saying it does need to be fixed. We're told that the 18 people arrested, half have been processed. So far, only one person remains in custody. And you'll remember last week there was an international drug bust. 9 of the 6 people charged, 6 of those people are already out on bail. So it was conceded today by many of the politicians and police authorities that we still need to make reform of bail a priority. Reporting live, I'm John Musselman. I'll send it back to you.
All right, thank you, John. To Boston now, where Ontario Premier Doug Ford is among the premiers from eastern provinces meeting in Boston with state governors from key trading states. The meeting is expected to focus on energy, manufacturing, and tourism in the face of President Trump's trade war. Premiers from Newfoundland to Ontario were invited by New England governors. Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Maine, Vermont, Connecticut, and New York are represented on the U.S. side. Canada is the largest single trade partner with those states. Maine says Trump's tariffs have damaged the state's economy and relationship with Canada. CTV's Sarah Plowman is in Boston for the meeting.
Basically, they're looking to talk about things, as you mentioned. It's expected that, tariffs, trade will be at the top of the agenda, as well as tourism, as well as energy. And depending on who you ask, they have a different answer as to what their priority is. But I mean, all of them, for them, their priority actually is trade and tariffs. But, Maine's governor is really concerned about tourism as well, because she's seen a drop in Canadian travelers going to her state. In New Brunswick and Ontario, those two premiers, they want to talk about energy. Susan Holt, the New Brunswick premier, pointed out that here in Boston, about 90% of the cars that are being driven are being fueled by oil that's refined by in New Brunswick. They supply a lot of energy here. Premier Doug Ford wanting to talk about energy as well, and minerals. But this is all happening at a time when, there's been a months-long trade war between the U.S. and Canada. This is all happening at a time when the leaders of these countries are talking about, negotiating a deal, but nothing's happened. And this is also happening as, tourism season heats up, and a lot of Canadian travelers are choosing to boycott travel to the U.S.
Sarah Plowman in Boston at the meeting between Eastern Canada premiers and governors from the northeastern U.S. states.
Meantime, world leaders have converged in Alberta, Donald Trump among them, for day one of the G7 Leaders Summit.
The U.S. president is meeting with Prime Minister Carney right now amid the ongoing tariff battle between the two countries.
The G7 is nothing without U.S. leadership, and your personal leadership, leadership of the United States, many issues, geopolitics, economic, technology, and working hand in hand with the United States, Canada and the United States, and the other G7 partners with your leadership. Very much looking forward to the meeting. I'm grateful to have you.
Thank you very much, Mark. I appreciate it, and we've developed a very good relationship, and we're going to be talking about trade and many other things. And we have a whole group of people, some traders and some other people. I see my top economy people. But we have a very talented group of people, and you do too, and I know they work together very well. I look forward to that. The G7 used to be the G8.
The bilateral meeting follows Carney's visit to the White House last month. This is Trump's first trip to Canada since imposing duties on a wide range of goods and suggesting we become the 51st state. And CTV's Colton Prale is at the summit and joins us now live. It seems, Colton, like it's off to a good start. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, it's been an interesting start, certainly in that bilateral meeting that you just showed some highlights of. It was about 30 minutes between Mark Carney and Donald Trump, one-on-one. Now, that is continuing right now in an expanded sense. So you heard in that clip you played, Donald Trump referred to his top economic guys. Who are those people? Well, he's got Marco Rubio, Secretary of State, Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary. He's got Stephen Miller there as well. He's got Jamieson Greer, the USTR representative, U.S. Trade Representative there. They really are the people who will deal with the tariff situation and coming up with a new deal for Canada. On the Canadian side, Minister Dominic LeBlanc is there. He's handling U.S. trade. You've also got Kirsten Hillman, our ambassador to the U.S., and Pete Hoekstra, the U.S. ambassador to Canada, taking part in an expanded bilat right now that's going on where they are working on those trade discussions. And you heard Donald Trump say that he does think a deal can be reached. But what is crucial to point out is there is still a gulf between what that final solution looks like for both administrations. In that little 30-minute chat where they were being asked questions by the media, one of the things that Donald Trump says was that Mark Carney has some complex but good ideas, but that he is still, and this is crucial here, a tariff guy. And that's ultimately the challenge here. Donald Trump is still throwing out a solution or proposing solutions at this point publicly in the media that involves some level of tariffs. And he doesn't appear as though he's willing to back off from that. We know the Canadian administration is looking to see all of those tariffs removed. They view them as unjustified. They also view them as as illegal. And so there are questions around whether or not we could see a deal come out of this meeting in the coming days, in the coming weeks. Neither leader would comment on a timeline, but they have been in negotiations for quite some time now. They're being described as sensitive negotiations, but you see the U.S. president there referring to a good relationship, and he did seem to believe that there could be progress as a result of these talks. The other thing that I think is really unique and worth mentioning here is Donald Trump commented multiple times about Justin Trudeau in this little 30-minute tete-a-tete, especially to the press. He criticized what he said was a decision to exclude Russia from the G7, to remove them, the G8 as it used to be back in 2014. Of course, that was a decision that happened before Justin Trudeau was Prime Minister. That part is crucial to highlight. But it speaks to the tumultuous state of the relationship he had with the previous Prime Minister. It appears to be very different under Mark Carney. He was wearing a Canada-US pin. He referred to him as Mark. He said it was a good relationship. There are signs here that things can progress, perhaps in a way that they weren't able to progress under the previous administration. It'll be a very delicate task for Mark Carney throughout the course of this summit and throughout the course of that bilateral meeting, because they're going to touch on a number of sensitive topics, tariffs being one of them, but also Israel, Iran, the conflict in Ukraine, all of which Canada and the U.S. have slightly differing political opinions about, and it's going to be a real challenge for Mr. Carney, not only as Prime Minister, but as leader of this G7 summit, to ensure that it goes smoothly and that we don't find ourselves in a situation like what happened last time the G7 was in Canada in 2018, where the American president left in a huff, pulled out of the joint communique, and insulted the Prime Minister on social media from Air Force One as he was flying away.
Yeah, a lot of eyes on this, of course, a lot of concern. We're going to be following this. CTV's Colton Prix at the G7 summit. Thank you.
Anytime.
Meanwhile, the G7 is drawing hundreds of demonstrators to Calgary, rallying for various causes, hoping to catch the attention of the arriving leaders.
I would love to take the G7 leaders to stop being complicit in all forms of oppression of the world. Stop the genocide in Palestine, to stop the oppression of all Indigenous peoples in the world, and to stop the exploitation of the global South, which includes all the developing countries.
Demonstrators are protesting against climate change, coal mining, Indigenous issues, and Donald Trump. The City Hall location is one of 3 designated protest zones in Calgary and Banff, where protesters are to be broadcast on TVs set up for the leaders in Kananaskis, which has been closed to the public. Meantime, there were some dramatic moments in the skies over Alberta on Sunday. Canadian fighter jets had to intercept a private plane that violated restricted airspace above Kananaskis. The RCMP say steps were taken to get the pilot's attention, and final warning measures were used to contact the pilot. The plane was brought to a landing safely.
In North York, a house fire has claimed the life of one man.
The victim in his 60s. He was found in a home on Rochefort Drive in Don Mills.
This is a devastating evening for this area and certainly for the family impacted. The fire has been contained. There are no further occupants displaced. We did have one firefighter that was transported to the hospital for non-critical, non-life-threatening injuries.
Toronto's fire chief says firefighters were met with heavy flames and heat when they arrived at the home just after 3 p.m. yesterday. Crews managed to force their way into the back of the residence. That is when they found the lone occupant of the home inside. A memorial has been held in Scarborough to remember a 16-year-old who was shot and killed 1 year ago.
As CTV's Siobhan Morris reports, though who knew Kaylin Ryder Downey, hope justice will be served.
It's a community barbecue with all the joyful squeals, sizzles, and sweet treats you'd expect on a gorgeous late spring day. But in this neighborhood near Birchmount and Finch, it's also a day of reflection. A year ago, 16-year-old Kaylin Ryder Downey was murdered. Raquel Tobar had adopted Kaylin 2 years earlier, a boy she describes as having a troubled early life, who yearned for family, Christmases, birthdays.
He looked out for the kids. He was like the kid community safe hero type of kid. Yeah, he was so sweet.
Other children are missing their friend and basketball teammate.
He was really fun. He was funny. He always used to play with kids, and yeah.
He was like helpful, kind.
On June 15th, 2024, some of these same kids were playing on a sunny afternoon much like this one. It was at a plaza at the edge of the housing complex. Kaylin was shot dead in what police believe to be a targeted shooting. 2 men have been charged with first-degree murder.
If it marred me, I can only imagine what had happened, like how it affected children.
That's Kaylin's aunt, her arms full of tickets, the driving force behind flipping what June 15th can mean for this community.
Change a tragic day into something more positive, to again engage children every year and see what they necessarily need in an area like this to help them thrive.
Calling for more funding for programs for everything from sports to financial literacy.
Dower is a community that needs a lot of support, honestly, especially with these young kids. All these young kids have a lot of potential.
In the middle of the fun, advocates against gun violence are here to listen. They insist there are programs available.
But how do we really make that connection? Because it seems as if gun violence and violence as a whole is increasing. We're throwing money. Why is it not reaching where it should be?
Trying to open up new possibilities and prevent more lives from being cut tragically short. Kaylin's family intends to turn this into an annual event. They are hoping for some measure of justice over the next year. They're waiting for a trial date for Kaylin's accused killers. Siobhan Morris, CTV News. The suspect in the shooting of 2 Minnesota lawmakers and their spouses has been arrested following a massive manhunt.
After a 2-day manhunt, 2 sleepless nights, law enforcement have apprehended Vance Bolter. That's 48 hours that law enforcement involved in a complex and dangerous manhunt. Spent Father's Day away from their families to deliver justice for Melissa and Mark Hortman and their children who spent this Father's Day alone.
Vance Bolter is charged with 2 counts of second-degree murder and 2 counts of attempted murder. State Representative Melissa Hortman and her husband Mark were shot and killed in their home Saturday morning. State Senator John Hoffman and his wife Yvette were also shot, but they are expected to survive. The suspect is due in court later today.
In the Middle East, Iran fired a new wave of missiles at Israel, killing at least 8 people. The Israeli city of Haifa was among the targets struck. Tehran vowed further retaliation for sweeping attacks on its military and nuclear infrastructure. At least 224 people have been killed in the country since Friday. Israel warned hundreds of thousands of people in the middle of Tehran today to evacuate ahead of new strikes. Israeli officials say 24 people have been killed and more than 500 injured in Iranian attacks. The latest conflict began when Israel launched an assault on Iran's top military leaders, uranium enrichment sites, and nuclear scientists.
We received word over the weekend former Canadian Auto Workers President Buzz Hargrove has died. The news of Hargrove's death was announced by Unifor last night. Hargrove was a beloved and iconic figure in Canada's labour movement. He was the national president of the Canadian Auto Workers from 1992 until retiring in 2008. Buzz Hargrove was 81. Lindsay.
Well, fresh on the heels of a pretty nice weekend weather-wise, we are starting off the week on a similar note. Here's a look at our almanac for today. Average temperature in Toronto at this time of year is 24 degrees. A shout out to you in Delhi, the provincial hotspot at this point at 25.3 degrees. Now we are going to be a 9 on the UV index today, but you can see some communities are at a 10 or very high. Don't forget the sunscreen this afternoon. And while we do cool down a little bit by the end of this work week, the first weekend of summer is going to be a scorcher. We'll take you through the 7-day forecast after this break. You're watching CTV News at noon. We'll be right back.
Tonight on CTV National News, W5 investigates.
It's just insane.
A Canadian family bought a car from a dealership, and it turned out it had been stolen.
Something doesn't add up about the history of this vehicle.
How thieves could be selling stolen cars to you. W5 investigates tonight on CTV National News and ctvnews.ca.
All right, let's talk about the forecast. Coming off a really lovely Sunday, Father's Day, and it seems like this weather trend is continuing very nicely.
No, happy Father's Day to you. Yeah, it's so nice. And you know what? Lindsay and I both were talking during the break. A reminder to wear sunscreen because we both got a little bit of some burns.
It's
deceiving because it wasn't so hot, and you're like, I'm okay.
I know, but it is that time of year. You know, the angle of the sun right now, it can make it very strong. And we are at a 9 today on the UV index. So sunscreen is a good idea. Take it from from Michelle and I. It's also going to be pretty warm this afternoon. It's going to get even hotter as we move into the day tomorrow. Weather is brought to you by the Pressler Law Firm. Injury lawyers, you don't pay unless they win. This morning, a lovely start. We had a beautiful sunrise down by the water. And as mentioned, we will have some sun today mixed with cloud. It's not going to be a perfect blue sky day. Oh, nice shot of the moon there. But it is going to be warm. You're going to feel it as you make your way out the door this afternoon. And then the next couple of days, humidex factor, certainly there, humidex readings into the mid-30s. But we also have some active weather to talk about, and we'll get to that in just a moment. It is 23 degrees right now, feels like 26 in Toronto, already feeling like 30 in the Windsor area, slightly cooler in Kingston this hour at 20 degrees. For the most part, we are forecasting highs in the mid or upper 20s, depending on where you are in southern Ontario, feeling close to 30, feeling like 31 in Niagara Falls. I think it's going to be a nice night to head to a patio, enjoy dinner outside, mainly sunny skies, especially into the evening hours. If you've got a little bit of cloud in your neighborhood right now, anticipate that that is expected to burn off throughout the day. And then overnight tonight, remaining quite mild, 16 for the low, partly cloudy skies. It's tomorrow that things initially just start to change a little bit as far as any active weather is concerned. We've got a 30% chance of showers in the afternoon, slight risk of a thunderstorm too. Look at the forecast daytime high, 27 degrees, feeling like 34. A little snapshot of highs across the region. 28 degrees for you tomorrow in Guelph, as well as Collingwood and Aurora. You'll find it a little bit cooler for some lakeside communities, especially the West GTA, in the low 20s, for example, temperature-wise. And then 25 degrees for you in Trenton is what we're expecting for tomorrow. Thicker cloud cover south of the border. We've got a mix of sun and cloud in most parts of the GTA. Tracking the potential for some active weather, as I mentioned, as early as tomorrow afternoon. It's just a chance of a passing shower or a thunder shower. So the majority of your day is going to be dry. I wouldn't go canceling any outdoor plans at this point. There's this evening, again, looking pretty good. Into tomorrow afternoon, we do see a bit of cloud cover increase. And then early evening, this is when we see pop-up showers, maybe a thunder shower passing through. It's pretty short-lived. And then Wednesday, we do have a better chance of active weather. The day is going to start off dry and sunny, but then there's your Wednesday evening. Anybody with evening soccer or baseball practice will just want to be weather aware tomorrow to make sure conditions are safe for being outside. Unsettled for Wednesday as well as Thursday. Notice how the temperature dips, really just a seasonal for both Thursday and Friday, highs of 24 degrees. We officially welcome the summer season on Friday night. And then look at the first weekend of the new season. Temperatures climbing again, 26 degrees for Saturday, up around 31 degrees on Sunday. That's your look at the forecast for now. Stay with us. CTV News. We'll be right back.
Well, there's been considerable debate about the costs and benefits of bike lanes, but there's a new scientific study of 28 U.S. cities that is offering some clarity, and it turns out bike lanes actually make commutes faster for people in cars. Look who's here. We got Dan
my bike all the way here.
Yeah, we got Dan Riskin here, and honestly, I'm just thinking about people who are drivers and are thinking, how does bringing us down to 2 lanes each way make things faster for me?
I totally get it. And by the way, I did not ride a bike here. I drove, and the intuition is I have less road. So therefore, things must be slower for the cars. But what you don't see is the number of people who are not in cars who are now on bikes. And what this new study shows is that when you build a separated bike lane, like a safe bike lane that no cars are going to clip you while they go by because it's separated by cement, when you build those, the number of people that get out of their cars and start riding bikes is so high that it actually reduces the amount of time it takes for cars to get where they want to go. So yes, the road is smaller, and yes, it can be a little bit tighter and more frustrating, but you're there with fewer drivers. And so as a result, the commute time has actually gone down.
Good to know. So this one is interesting. Intermittent fasting, we've heard that used to be a good thing, and then they were saying it's a bad thing, but maybe not. A study on mice shows that male mice, when they were doing intermittent fasting, somehow their libido was boosted.
Their libido was boosted. And I know you care deeply about the sex lives of male elderly mice, But what this is really neat is that they're trying to understand the mechanism. They're trying to understand why people change over the course of their lifetime in terms of all these different things. And one of the things that's normal for mammals and humans is that as males get older, their libido goes down. And so by using this intermittent fasting, they reduce the amount of serotonin that could accumulate in the brain, and that caused these male mice to find their groove again and get right back into it. And they were doing sexual activity 66% more than they had before. They were having 88% more offspring. So it clearly was a fix. And so they're not saying that the cure for humans is to intermittent fast. What they're saying is, I think this is going to help us zone in on what molecules in the brain are causing these things. And so now we can look for drugs that can actually fight this, because we're starting to understand what's going on.
All right, we're looking forward to a follow-up on this.
Very interesting. And as we prepare to welcome summer, and people probably swimming this past weekend, there's a new technique, and kids everywhere, they love a good cannonball and really make a big splash. There's a new technique for making the biggest splash.
Yeah, so all your friends are doing cannonballs. You're going to get on that diving board. You're going to say, no, I'm going to do something called the manu, where you jump in, you land bum first into the water. This is something that comes out of New Zealand. The Maori do this, and when you hit with your bum, and then as you go underwater, you extend your back, so you then become like you're standing up, but you're upside down underwater. And when you do this, it creates a huge cavity underwater of air, and when that closes, it sends a jet, and the jet of water goes up twice as high as the thing you jumped off. That's a great splash. I mean, that's quality. So anyway, all your friends can do their cannonballs, but you're going to outdo them. So you're welcome. Enjoy the summer.
Yeah, don't they have like cannonball competitions? I'm sure I've seen that.
They absolutely do. And in New Zealand, they have manu competitions. They have competitions. And there's actually a limit. They only let people do it off a 10-meter platform, because otherwise they might get hurt, because of the magnitudes of the pressure when you hit the water and extend your back and send that big thing of water going up. So 2 things. Hit with your bum, with your legs at about a 45-degree angle to your torso, and then after you enter the water, extend your back to open up that air bubble and make it even bigger, so that when it closes, you get this big jet of water going up.
And make sure it's deep enough.
Yeah, deep enough, and get away from the edge. Do it off a diving board. Don't try to do it off the side. Yeah.
All right, thanks so much. CTV Science and Tech Specialist Dan Riskin, thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great week.
Thanks.
With weather news, Canadians will be able to visit many of our landmarks, museums, and national parks for free or at a discount this summer. The feds introduced the new Canada Strong Pass today.
From June 20th to September 2nd, the pass will offer expanded access to Canada's nature and culture. This includes free admission for everyone to our beautiful national parks, historic sites, and marine conservation areas administered by Parks Canada, and 25% discount on camping fees. Free trips for children under 17 when accompanied by an adult on Via Rail trains, and 25% discount for young adults between the age of 18 and 24. Free admission in our national, provincial, and territorial museums for children age 17, and under 50% discount for young adults age 18 to 24.
Ottawa says the pass is meant to encourage Canadians to make summer plans closer to home. It goes into effect Friday until September 2nd and does not require registration. Well, when Kendrick Lamar played 2 shows in Toronto last week, we reported about the long-standing beef between him and Drake.
This week, Drake has a new beef, and it is not with a fellow rapper. Our Andrea Case is joining us now for the latest on the situation. What's going on, Andrea?
Michelle and Nathan, who knew this was going to happen? Not me, that's for sure. I don't think anyone saw this coming. Drake has had a beef with Jagmeet Singh, but don't expect a diss track from the former politician, just an apology. Fans were certainly ready to party when Kendrick Lamar with special guest SZA played 2 shows in Toronto last week.
Let's go.
But one attendee in particular is feeling the heat. Jagmeet Singh was spotted at the show, and Toronto rapper Drake isn't happy about it, going as far as calling the former NDP leader a goof for being there. Drake and Lamar have been embroiled in a beef for over a year, the 2 dropping diss tracks against each other. The undisputed winner of the feud is Lamar and his Grammy-winning record, They're Not Like Us. In the track, Lamar calls Drake a pedophile for allegedly dating underage women. Drake has taken Lamar and his record company to court, suing for defamation. As for Singh, he took to X to apologize, writing, "I was born in this city. I love this city, but real talk, I get it. I shouldn't have gone at all. OVO and Drake have lifted the city and Canada for me. It'll always be Drake over Kendrick." Come on now, boys. Can't you just get along? So Kendrick Lamar is still on tour. Drake has a new record coming out. The fact that we're talking about them, I guess it's good for both of them. Reporting for CTV News, I'm Andrea Case. Let's go to commercial, and Michelle and Nathan will be back after this.
Get Toronto's top stories, breaking news alerts, and watch live. Download the CTV News app.
It is Monday, time for Chronically Online with Sam East, host of 99.9 Virgin Radio. She's on from 2 to 5 p.m. weekdays. Sam, and something a little different, you're on location this week because of Toronto traffic. Please explain.
Yeah, slight change plans today. I usually take Harvard coming into the city, and word to the wise, don't take Harvard today if you're traveling in Toronto, because there's a lot of construction, a lot of detours. And as they say, there's two seasons in Toronto, winter and construction. And we are firmly in construction, which means it's summertime. Hooray.
Yay. Yeah. Well, we're glad you can still make this work. And there's been a lot of buzz about Pedro Pascal online after a lookalike contest that happened over the weekend. Tell us about that.
So these lookalike contests are all the rage now. I hope they bring more of them to Toronto because they look like a lot of fun. Pedro Pascal being, I mean, one of the hottest celebs at the moment. There was a contest held in New York, and as you can see, Pedro #5 was the chosen winner. He's a dad from Brooklyn. He was urged by his wife to join the contest. He didn't really want to at first. He was adjudged the winner, and he won $50 and a year's supply of burritos, plus bragging rights. So there's that, too.
Oh, my gosh. Honestly, he looks just like him. I wonder what Pedro Pascal will say about this.
Well, Pedro Pascal is one of those celebrities that's always game. So I feel like if he catches wind of this, and I'm willing to bet he probably has caught wind of this already, he would probably, you know, do a little content with him. I feel like he's game for something like that.
Yeah, we did. I remember a while back there was a Drake lookalike contest. You are right. Yeah. This is definitely all the rage. It's a lot of fun. And ultimately, you know, people say there's someone that looks like you out there, you know. So, yeah, we should do a Sam East lookalike contest.
Okay, that would turn out some interesting results. We should be the judges of that.
Now, since you're stuck in traffic, and we're talking about, you know, something that happens this time of year, another thing are street festivals, but that's a great thing about this time of year. Last Monday, we talked about Do West Fest. This week, there's another street festival on your mind.
Yeah, Taste of Little Italy took over a part of College from Shaw to Bathurst. They estimated 250,000 people were checking it out, the vendors, the food, the performances. But one person in particular that they're calling someone's grandma had over 5 million views and counting on TikTok. Look at her go. Look at her go. Ooh, you know, we speculate what she was even doing before this happened. Did she just stumble upon the festival and then she became the talk of the town? Or did she have intent to make this happen? Either way, Grandma is having a good time. And someone commented saying, retired but not tired.
Not at all. I want to know her story. There must have been some dancing in her history. You know, she's moving and grooving. Gosh.
And I like how they made space for her to be the star. Like, she had her moment, and everybody, I mean, I think that's the beauty of these street festivals. It doesn't matter who you are, how old you are, where you come from. Everyone's here for the vibes.
She probably had some of that amazing food and was just feeling good. Sam East, great. You make us feel good. Love to chat with you on a Monday. You get the week going for us. Host of 99.9 Virgin Radio from 2 to 5 p.m. Have a great show.
Thanks, Michelle.
Now to a story about a woman from Mississauga working to support those displaced by the war between Israel and Hamas.
CTV's Beth McDonnell has more on how she's helping with humanitarian efforts from right here at home.
Mississauga mom and former MasterChef Canada finalist Rahim Ahmed is on a trip with a mission. She's in Egypt to feed and care for dozens of young evacuees from Gaza.
It's been really tough, but it's also a blessing to be able to help.
Ahmed has been raising money and traveling to cities with a team as part of the international charity Droplets of Mercy. It's been a busy 2 weeks preparing packages of food for evacuee families, visiting with orphans and amputees, and organizing a special party for 60 kids to celebrate Eid.
These people, they have so much love for the world and for us, even though they've been slaughtered, they've seen their family killed, they've seen their houses destroyed.
She was stuck under the rubble for 2 days. And when she woke up under the rubble, her right leg was stuck.
The fighting between Hamas and Israel is estimated to have sent more than 100,000 Gazans into Egypt. For Ahmed, coming here has also been part of a personal calling, a journey to help those in need. In the GTA, she's worked with restaurants to help feed refugees from Sudan, Ukraine, and Gaza. Then, last year, she traveled to Turkey to help displaced Uyghurs and now Gazans.
For me, it's not about two sides. For me, it's about being human, about humanity, about coming all together, helping this world.
Her mom needs a regulator for her heart, and she also needs surgery.
Now, Ahmed hopes to raise more money to help the children and families she's met get the surgeries and medical care they need before she returns to Canada on July 1st. Beth McDonnell, CTV News.
George Russell of Mercedes-Benz is the Canadian Grand Prix champion.
Across the line we go. George Russell wins the Canadian Grand Prix.
The win yesterday marks the first win of the season for the Mercedes and the fourth win for Russell's career. Red Bull's Max Verstappen came in second. The final laps were run with the safety car on the track after the two McLarens collided. Montreal's Lance Stroll finished 17th, last place among the drivers that finished the race. Congrats to him. To a celebration of a different kind, it was a family affair at a recent York University convocation ceremony.
3 siblings graduated, and they say there are more to follow. CTV's Carol Charles has the story.
Hundreds of people crossed the convocation, but this was a little different. First up, Diane Serafuli, closely followed by her brother Jean-Luc Serafuli. And last but not least, little brother Salomon Serafuli. The trio of siblings, all graduates at this year's York University convocation ceremony, walking away with a degree in political science.
It feels amazing and fantastic, especially that I'm with my siblings.
It feels great. It was a lot of emotions. I didn't think I would feel emotional, but I did. It's a great accomplishment for me.
Starting in 2013, their parents flew 8 of 9 siblings from Kinshasa, capital city of the Democratic Republic of Congo, to Toronto to not only attend the same university, they live in the same apartment.
Everybody had their own experience in their classrooms, with their friends group. So when we came home, it was 9 different stories. But we went to the same school.
It was their father who encouraged them to stay together and support one another. An experience which can be challenging, but they have no regrets.
In real life, you're not going to get along with everybody, but you need to understand how to live with people.
2 sisters have already graduated too. The first in 2018, the second in 2024. And now it's Jean-Luc, Salomon, and Diane. The siblings came to Canada speaking several languages, including Lingala, Swahili, French, and now English. They say Glendon is a good fit for the family, who are fluent in French and value the smaller class sizes.
Glendon is a mixture, so it's a mixture of big and small, and that's what I love about it. And Glendon felt like a family.
School officials say they have taken on a role almost acting like surrogates for the family.
This is a family that has decided to send one pioneer in, one test child in, and the result came out quite positive. So the whole family followed, and we're very happy to host them.
An opportunity made possible by their parents.
I have no words. I can only be thankful for the opportunity they gave me to come here and study and also learn from others here and also learn from the culture.
The family tradition will continue. 2 younger siblings will be graduating next year from York University's Glendon campus as well. Carol Charles, CTV News.
Yes, it kind of feels like summer begins this week, doesn't it?
It's coming, right? It's the heat that makes it feel that it's summer.
We're going to have heat all week long. Heat, humidity, and some active weather. In fact, not so much today. Today is a dry day. Here's one more look at our current temperature and humidex readings. Yeah, it feels warm out there. Keep this in mind as you venture outside. Overnight tonight, staying warmer than normal too. 16 for the low under partly cloudy skies. Tomorrow, we really start to feel this heat. 27 for the high, feeling like the mid-30s in many areas. There's going to be a mugginess there. A little instability in the atmosphere could lead to some pop-up showers or thunderstorms in the afternoon. And then Wednesday, Thursday, a little more unsettled, more in the way of cloud cover. Temperature dips slightly, too seasonal for about Thursday, Friday. And then as we welcome summer, the heat returns for next weekend. Nathan and Michelle.
All right. Thank you, Lindsay. And that is CTV News at noon. Remember, you can get Toronto's breaking news all day long on CP24 and at ctvnewstoronto.ca.
For Lindsay Morrison and the whole team here, have a pleasant afternoon. I'm Michelle Dubé.
And I'm Nathan Downer. Be sure to join us later for CTV News at 5 and 6. Have a great day.